The NATO chief squarely laid the blame on the Russians, even after categorically stating that the missile which landed in Poland had nothing to do with Moscow, a statement where NATO allies appeared to be on the same page. More details in our next report.
The missile that killed 2 people in Poland was probably a stray fired by Ukraine's air defences, and not a Russian strike, Poland's government and NATO have said, easing global fears that the war in Ukraine could spill across the border. The strike on Tuesday hit a Polish grain facility near Ukraine. NATO said, in the end, Moscow was still to blame for starting the war in the first place and launching the attack that triggered Ukraine's defences. Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said on Wednesday an investigation was ongoing.
But we have no indication that this was the result of a deliberate attack. And we have no indication that Russia is preparing offensive military actions against NATO.
NATO ambassadors were holding emergency talks to respond to the blast, which was the war's first deadly spillover onto the territory of a NATO member. Poland signalled it might not activate Article 4 of NATO's treaty, which calls for consultations in the face of a security threat. Meanwhile, Ukraine has asked for access to the site. Alexei Danilov, a senior defence official, said Kyiv wanted to conduct a joint study and to see the information that provided the basis for its allies' conclusions. Writing on the official Facebook page of the National Security and Defence Council of Ukraine on Wednesday, Danilov said Kyiv has evidence of a Russian trace in the incident. He echoed an earlier tweet by President Volodymyr Zelensky that blamed Russia's missile terror. Danilov provided no further details. Earlier, US President Joe Biden said the missile was unlikely to have been fired from Russia. The Kremlin said some countries had made baseless statements about the incident, but Washington had been comparatively restrained. The Russian Defense Ministry said none of its missiles had struck closer than 20 miles from the Polish border, and photos of the wreckage showed parts of a Ukrainian Soviet-built S-300 air defense missile. Moscow launched a wave of missile attacks on Tuesday, just days after abandoning the southern city of Kherson, the only regional capital it had captured since the invasion. Kyiv says it shot down most of the incoming Russian missiles with its own air defense.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.